All right, guys, let's talk about this knife that I wish I could fall in love with. There's a lot of things I like about it, but there's a few things that I just don't. So I'm just going to tell you guys how I feel. So this is a Toor knives, Toor, company started by Connor Toor several years back. I don't remember exactly when. This was loaned in from my buddy Gary. He bought it brand new from a retailer, had it shipped to me, and I instantly fell in love with it initially. And as I spent some time with it, I want to love it. I really do. But the action on it is horrible. So I have seen one other video on YouTube talk about this knife. Metal Complex. You guys may have heard of him. I don't know. He's got a smaller channel. He was able to just thumb it out right out of the box. And I don't know if he's got superhuman thumbs or what. But it does not flip out without a lot of wrist. And so right there, it wasn't a problem when I first opened it, right? I've broken in and owned a lot of Medford knives over the years. And they get to a point after 1,218 open and closes. Okay, I don't know. It's after some amount of time. They break in and they're super smooth. I have spent about a week on this one, opening and closing it all day long, every day, to the point where my hand kind of is sore, trying to break it in. Now, it's super smooth. Like, I'm not going to lie. It is super smooth. Runs on phosphor bronze washers. Feels great in the hand. And I love that recurve blade. Love it. And it feels good in the hand. I think Metal Complex might have bigger hands than me because he feels a little cramped with that continuous curve, which I can understand. It fits me fine and my hand feels great. So I get it. If you have a bigger hand, you know, kind of thicker fingers maybe, it might feel a little cramped. But that action, like I can't open it one-handed without slow rolling it, and it's slightly uncomfortable. You can kind of choke up. The other problem I have is the pocket clip. It works well, but right here, this point here is uncomfortable on your hand. When you're holding it, it's a hot spot. When you're just kind of grabbing it and picking it up, you feel that point on your pocket clip. So, I don't know. I wish it would break in. So let's talk about the specs, and I'll give you a couple other opinions. 4 5/8 closed, just over 7 3/4 overall. 3.15-inch blade with a 3.08 cutting edge. The behind the edge thickness on this one, it's a little funny. Like when I feel this, I feel it kind of swell up here at the front. So when I measured behind the edge, back here at the heel, you're at 0.021. As you move up, it actually tapers up, if you will, to 0.029. So it does get a little bit thicker towards the front. Totally good with that. Okay. So that you have some strength for piercing and prying on their website. And we'll talk about that in a minute. And then it's a little bit finer edge back here for that cutting. So I'm totally good with the geometry of that blade. The blade thickness is 0.157. It is S35VN, and they mark that in a very cool way. These are all individually serialized as well. Overall thickness is 0.493, and it weighs in at 6.1 ounces. And as we zoom in, it's a great stonewash blade, like a dark stonewash. I love it. Love that part. It's all titanium hardware. It has a kind of a hidden, if you will, lock bar insert, which also acts as the over travel stop. So I love that. Titanium hardware, titanium backspacer, titanium scales, titanium pocket clamp. Okay, so they use some titanium. Individually serialized. This is number 9. And here on the curve of the blade is your blade steel. CPM S35VN. I think that's a cool spot to put it. We don't need a big branding over here of what it is. I think they keep the blade really nice and clean. I love that part. So this is, I don't even think I said the name. This is the XT1 Alpha. Okay. So it's the 1-year anniversary of Toor Knives creating folding knives. They did fixed blades first for a bit, like most companies do. So they wanted to come out with a new model, and this is the 10th folding knife. So the Roman numeral X for 10. And it was a collaboration between the owner and a couple of employees, Thomas Ward and Alfred Garcia, which I think is cool. They came up and they designed it together. What I thought was a little odd is they said they wanted it, made for military use and whatnot. So it needed to have a blade and handle had to be much larger than is considered standard in the marketplace. This is much bigger than what is standard in the marketplace. I don't know. Here's a Spyderco Delica, and here's a Spyderco PM2. I think those are kind of standards in the marketplace. I don't know. I mean, you got the Hellraiser, which is kind of standard-ish. I'm not sure what they're calling standard in the marketplace if this is much larger than is standard. So I'm confused by that on their website. They also talk about they needed a stronger lock for prying and chopping. I don't pry with my knives typically, but okay. And the lockup is super strong. Okay. It is it's a standard frame lock. I mean, here is the Shargnivko Ryu, which I recently just jammed through a jerry can for the Shargnivko Ryu, for the Shargnivko Facebook group. I did some photos for that. Standard frame lock. I'm not sure that this is anything stronger than an average knife right now. And I think it's certainly a drawback at $475 that the action is kind of two-handed or a slow roll or a lot of wrist that does, it's, I don't know. That may just be this particular model. Metal Complex was able to thumb his open. I talked to another friend of mine who's somewhat associated with Toor, and he said he handled one and he could flip it open. If that's the case, then their quality control is a little lacking if you don't know how it's going to come out every model. I mean, even in Metal Complex's video, he talked about the action was very stiff. Like, he just did the unboxing. I didn't watch the whole thing because I didn't want to be persuaded by his opinions before I did mine, right? I tried to do that because I knew this was already in when I went to go look and see how many other videos were on YouTube. And really, it was just Metal Complex. So I don't know. I mean, this was loaned in by Gary. I don't know that Toor is going to send me anymore. They sent me the fixed blade that they sent me previously, and then they didn't like some of the comments that I made. So, okay. And then there's one other thing. I don't know if I'm going to be able to show it on film. There is some pivot play. I don't know that. So I am moving the blade. There's just some slop there. It's not on the washer. It's just in the pivot lash, if you will, pivot play. When it's fully open and locked, there is a little bit of side to side, but I'm afraid to tighten the pivot because that's just going to make the action worse. So Gary asked me to go ahead and take it apart and take a look inside, and maybe lube it up or, see if I could get the action a little better, because Gary is cool like that. So I may do that. And then if I have positive outcome from that, then I'll do another quick video of kind of a recap of that before I ship this back to Gary. So I don't know. I really want to love it because I love a recurve. I could handle the pocket clip. I could take that off, kind of round that off, have somebody dye it again for me, or recoat it. There is only one hole on the pocket clip, but there is a recess cut into the titanium so that locks that in. So I'm totally good with that. I just don't really like the point there. And the action, I need it to be able to thumb open. I know they want these to be more tactical knives, but I need it to be one-hand use easily, not getting my hand in a certain orientation so that I can thumb it out. I get it. Chris Reeve Sebenzas are not really flip open. They're more designed for slow rolls. I get that. I'm good with that. But they aren't as stiff as this. They don't take the manipulation that this takes. So I don't know. For $475, I want to love it. And if it was a smoother action, I probably would. I would probably absolutely love it and try to get my hands on one because I think it's that cool. And this could be a total everyday carry. User knife. And, you could fix the pocket clip on yourself by sanding that down a little bit. So I don't know. The action, we'll see. I'll do a little bit of tweaking with it and see if I can tune it a little better and go from there. So please go check out my fixed blade Toor knife over there.